What's up, Crown Nation? Welcome to Rock the Crown. Today's episode, Arts and Culture. Sit back, relax, and watch our Rock the Crown short.
Okay, so what inspired me to leave the corporate world and join a more, become a fashion designer was actually the birth of my children. Um, uh, I didn't want anybody else to raise them but me, and so upon doing so, I came into my own with sewing and, fashion design, which I went to school for. So after that, we incorporated, we turned it into a business. We turned it into a business, and we found out that it's hard in the beginning because you don't know how to let the corporate world go. It's very, very difficult. A check is a hard thing to let go, but you have to see what's more important. And so I quit my job, and Khalid still had his, but later on we developed into more businesses. But that's how inevitably we got into raising our children that way also. And we saw the many, many benefits. I was there with them all the time. It was extremely beneficial, for the Islam, for the education. And everybody has a entrepreneur mind over here. First thing we tell them is, what are you going to do? And we're going to have our own businesses. We own property. We this, we that. So, yeah.
Why the arts and basically cultural expression important to raise our children? Well, me, I just grew up as an artist. I come from a family of different people who went to school for art. My brothers specifically, we went to art and design, and we grew up just drawing all the time. But when I married my wife, I just realized that talent I had. Well, I graduated. I was out of NYU 3 years before I got married, but I wasn't working as an artist. I wasn't doing anything in art. I was just doing random stuff. As I got married, I realized how I needed to do. Uh, I needed to. Um, my wife really put that in me when I got married to start my own business. That's where it came from. But it was after the fact that us having our first child, her being at home and me being at work. So she started thinking about, what we could do for the future. And then I think it was something happened in the mass ship where there was an event they wanted to sell stuff for the mass to make money. And I painted this original painting out of my own, I drew this original painting saying Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, first time I ever did calligraphy. And I was just gonna sell it for $100. He said, no, don't sell it for $100.
I was like, wait, whoa, you don't sell the original. You make some prints and let's make some money.
And then she said, start a business. You should start a business. And that's what sparked me to understand that my talent that I had, I wasn't using it for myself, and I wasn't making any money from it. So that's what started us to start our own business from that.
And then so for our children, that's all they see. That's all they know, really, entrepreneurship. And it's funny how when they go to school, they're always the ones to say, like career day, they're always the ones to say, and don't forget about entrepreneurship, because they've seen it their entire lives. So that's what we teach over here.
I mean, and again, it's not for everybody. Entrepreneurship is not for there are people who want to be employees. They're going to be nothing wrong.
And it's okay.
Wrong with any of that. I just feel that as African American people, we were taught since we brought over here from Africa to only work for people. That's what we were taught. And I think all of us don't have that ability to work for people. Some of us have the ability to work for ourselves. And I'm just specifically talking about my children. I don't like, even some of my brothers and sisters, that's not what they want to do. They're not going to do. Everyone doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. But for myself, I see the value in it because whatever you create gets done. You don't have to ask the boss for days off. You don't have to ask anybody to do things. And it's for people who want to create their own and have their own expression. It's not for everybody, because some of us are going to be working for other African Americans, and then some of us are going to be the people who are in charge of the company. Yeah. So, how it has influenced our cultural identity as a people? It's just being, when you have your own, you're not influenced by anyone else. So you come up with stuff, you come up with different ideas.
We have to be creative.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. And then even with the whole Muslim thing, where a lot of Arabs and Pakistanis and other cultures are creating their image of Islam and their view of Islam is not necessarily ours. Even the way my wife just wears her khimar, even though I'm wearing a Senegalese kufi today, but our own, this is my own sweatshirt, my own creativity on it. Because everyone has their own expression, and you need to have that expression out there for your children specifically. What we see in corporate America is someone who's not Black creating a culture that's not benefiting them. It's been that way for a long period of time. Jazz, hip hop, rock.
It also makes them realize, children specifically, it makes them realize that they have the ability to do so. And I can see myself as that person, as the owner of whatever business, I'm good with computers. Good. Now go create your own. I'm good with this. Good. Go create your own. And you get to see that I'm capable of doing so. Okay, so we're two separate businesses here. I have a boutique, a KhaliqArt boutique. That's www.KhaliqArt, KhaliqArt.com. And I sell modest wear, Muslim attire. And Khalid is?
My business is called Kha-Tees. It's an art painting. I sell art basically on canvas and on different products. It's called Kha-Tees, www.KHA-TEES.com. And I'm basically an artist, a painter, creating my own expression.
And the girls also have a website, Haswaa. They're on YouTube right now at Haswaa, Haswaa, where they express their fashion ideas. They express their food ideas. I have one daughter that's going to a culinary arts college. She just got accepted. And Uswaa, my other daughter, graduated already from FIT in fashion business. So they conglomerate food and fashion together, and they have different kind of expressions on their own YouTube website. And that's Haswaa, HASWAA. And I do have a son. I don't want to forget him. He's into coding. So he's our computer techie guy. And right now, he loves comic books and things like that, but he loves to code and he loves to create his own gamer.
He basically gonna inshallah, he wants to get into making his own games and his own comic books.
Right. So we're trying to hone in on that.
What a question. Art it's always been a way for me to express myself, and it really came into fruition when I converted to Islam, and I was able to use my art as a tool for teaching others about Islam, about Muslim communities, and it also figures into my activism as well. So it's always been a part of me. I chose art because it's really my first love. It's always been a part of me, and thankfully I've had my family and art teachers that have always encouraged me to develop my talents and to grow. So that gave me the confidence to pursue it as a career. I hope that children will understand that it's not something that's for the quote unquote talented, that art is something that everyone can enjoy, because I do believe that when we're kids, that's when we get to do all the fun stuff. We take music classes, art classes, and then as we get older, a lot of those things are pushed to the side for more practical things. But I hope that children realize that that's something that you can continue for the rest of your life. And if you find joy in it, then why should you give it up?
Well, choosing artistry as my profession was not an easy decision. It was not clear cut, like, oh, I know this is what I want to do. Coming out of high school, I had about 4 things that I was interested in. One of them was fashion. One was being a cosmetologist. The other was being a lawyer. And lastly, to be a journalist. And so going through life, I ended up making the decision to be a cosmetologist, and I did that for many years, which is a form of artistry. To do hair, it's not just learning about all the odds and ends of the chemistry of things, learning about skin and hair and all of that, but also it's a form of art. And so I noticed that after so many years doing that, I wanted to go back to school to do something, and I didn't know what that was going to be. So I did end up taking a career counseling class, which led me towards the arts, the fields of arts. And so I kept feeling like that was not what I needed to do. So I kind of was fighting it, and everything just kept pointing back to that. So I realized that art was it. Whatever it was that I was going to be doing, it was geared toward being creative. So I kind of got this a little bit later in life. I was 30 years old when I decided to go back to school. And I still wasn't fashion yet, but I do remember taking an art class. And when I took that art class, I did assignments, and in the end, when I was finished with it, I was like, wow, I did that. Like, this was me. Like, I didn't know I had it in me. And so it was really great with me, just kind of like finding myself, finding my not just my passion, but just my gift, my talent, And so I still hadn't figured things out fully yet, but I did end up going into fashion, long story short. And, when you talk about being very passionate about something, fashion was like, or it not was, but is, I just do more than fashion now. It just did everything for me, and really more so because it was a service for me to use fashion as a vehicle to serve humanity. And so when I realized that I could do that, it gave me even more. But I'll tell you this, when I finished school, because I did go to school for fashion, once I finished school, I didn't jump right into the field itself, but I did end up landing some work at a private school, Muhammad Schools of Atlanta, and I was the art director there for nearly 5 years. And so I was able to do something for those children there that I didn't necessarily have. A lot of times people get an inclination or an idea, or they kind of know when they're younger what it is that they want to do. And for me, I didn't really have that. I didn't know anything about sewing. I didn't know very much about fashion, but I was able to give this to other students being the art director at the school. So just learning about colors, learning about, drawing, and just, it's really important to be able to instill that into children at a very young age. And so I was really happy about being able to do that. And some of them were interested in fashion. And so I was able to touch some of their lives as well while I was there. So although I did not totally jump into the field of fashion for myself, I was able to help a lot of young people, and I taught from preschool, actually, preschool all the way up to 12th grade in the school. And so I would definitely say that art in the school is very, very important. It's a piece that sometimes gets overlooked, and it's the first thing to go when people have to, when organizations have to start cutting programs. But art is very important, and I would say, just like for me, not knowing at a younger age, you know, and not knowing what all I had the ability to do, sometimes you just have to put yourself in the environment. You have to put your children in the environment, whether that's music, whatever it is, because they're not going to know what it is they can do until it gets put in front of them, or until they're taught. You know, sometimes just getting that paintbrush and just seeing what you can do will make a world of difference. For me, my first semester in school, just getting in front of that sewing machine, you know, I had people asking me, well, first let me tell you this. I didn't know a thing about the sewing machine, and my good friend, my mother's good friend, good family friend, Gwen Ahmed, I remember going to her one summer and I was like, I need you to teach me the sewing machine, teach me how to thread the bobbin, because I did not want to start school knowing absolutely nothing about how to thread the machine, at least. And so anyway, she was able to teach me that, and I didn't do any sewing, but she did help me with threading the machine. But once I started school, this is my point, starting school, after getting started with that semester, I had students and teachers and people asking me, you know, wow, how long have you been doing this? And I was really amazed by that, because I'm thinking, I just started like same time you did, you know. And so I didn't have like a lot of experience with it, but that thing that Allah put in me was coming out. So just like when I took that art class, when I started to do those drawings and do those paintings, not knowing that this was something that I could actually do, I was just like, wow, you know. So I would definitely encourage art in households, you know. And I know in my household, my children, you know, sometimes you see your children and they do things and you're like, wow, where'd they get that from? You know, I do believe that there is some connections in the genes some kind of way with something. You know, when you have a family that's in music and one sings, they all sing, you know. So for me and my family, you know, the visual arts, the drawing.
How has art influenced my ways in the world? Art's taught me diligence. Art has taught me that when you work hard at something and you honor the craft and you go out of your way to make sure that you do it to the best of your ability, you do it in a way that expresses yourself, that expresses life, that expresses God, that expresses creation, that art could be worship. And when you treat everything like it's worship, when you treat everything like it's art, I really just feel like you can do no wrong. You know, you could always feel close to God. You can always feel close to yourself. You can always be in sync with what you need. And, you know, I don't know. Creation is worship. Creation is prayer. And there's a heaven in that, you know, this tiny slice of heaven and the way I'm moving here on earth. And I'm blessed for it. Art's influence everything in the way I moved, and I definitely would be able to say that I wouldn't be who I am without it.
I ain't been myself in a minute. They looking at me like an icon. I know she love me for a lifetime. I know it hurt 'cause I ain't got time. Tryna heal this pain without this ice on. I know you see me when the lights on. Baby, you once in a lifetime. That's why I'm giving you extra love. I ride with your extra touch. You know I'm giving you extra.
Music is important in my life because it's kind of like what can I say? It's medicine all in a way, and just kind of like get my mind and my soul feel better. Like, I don't know, it's kind of like, and then I don't know how to explain it. It's just like every day, it's how I express myself too. Since I'm a musician myself, it's how also I express how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like I really want to say, like in a day-to-day life situation, I'll just express it in my music. I think it's just very important too because it's just art and just people can relate to it. Like, you know, everybody has different walks of life, so it's different types of music, you know, so everybody can like relate to it and feel like somebody else understands it in a way to it. I hope to inspire people through my music by just understanding that you can really do anything you want, you know, you just believe in it. And also like this the stuff that I go through on a day-to-day basis. Like there's other people that go through it too. So what I've been through and the stuff that I like and the stuff that I don't like, people that relate to me, because I could just feel like I'm a voice for them in a way, or people that just, you know, just sometimes need somebody to just say, oh, that's exactly how I feel, because some people just don't say it, you know. So, and also just inspiring people just by being yourself and just, you know, doing what you love to do.
Well, fashion influences my culture. I mean, people wear clothes every day and people look up to like, I feel like fashion is a way that you could kind of express yourself, you know? Like, say if I'm feeling a certain way and I have a t-shirt that has that design, or it's just kind of like fits my mood, you know, I'll throw that on. Say if I'm feeling real happy, I might wear something real bright or something. And, you know, you can express all type of things through culture, not just art. You know, that's why I particularly am in the fashion industry, because originally I was like an artist. So I just kind of like to bring my artistry, my art skills into fashion to kind of express myself in a way. But people use fashion to not just express themselves, but like you said, express your culture. You know, people look up to people in wearing specific things or doing specific things. It kind of just shows a way of life in a sort, you know, kind of like how back in the day, only these particular people wore gold, or these particular people wore these long garments, or whatever the case may be. But that's how I feel like fashion definitely expresses like the lifestyle of somebody, you know. That's how I feel like it's tied in with the culture. Well, I actually get this a lot because people don't really understand like the meaning behind the Climax code. The Climax code, the reason why I chose that is because I kind of just sat down with myself and have like a deep thought, you know, about the things that I kind of wanted to do in life, you know. And the Climax code, it's more of like, it's not just a clothing line, you know. I want it to be a huge company. I want to get to all types of different fields, you know, to sports, to entertainment, to all kind of things. And I feel like the Climax, I got the Climax code because basically I want every day to be the climax of my life. You know, I want my company in particular to make me feel like every day is the best day of my life, the climax of my life. But that's really the story behind that. I just had a deep thinking with myself, and I knew I needed to build a platform. You know, I want to do great things in life. I want to build a platform that me and my friends and my family can use to feel like every day is the best day of our lives, you know, take us to the best moment of our life. I chose photography so I could, you know, create memories and create art. Without photography, there really would be nobody, really. You know, photographers are the ones that make people and show people who they really are. You know, so yeah, that's it. Photography inspire others to, you know,
create more visual arts and help others grow, not only with, you know, entertainment, but, you know, grow within themselves and be able to create art to show who they really are.